Where do you shoot the deer? It seems like nowadays a lot of people just go straight to killing big bucks, and maybe you haven't had that experience of shooting hundreds of deer. All right, so one thing that we definitely start doing this time of year is switching to shooting 3D targets instead of just a regular bullseye target. And that's to get your brain kind of acclimated with the idea of shooting an animal. And in case, I don't like to, sometimes when you're hunting and that buck fever kicks in, you'll hear a lot of guys talking about, I don't know what happened. I just kicked into autopilot and I shot the deer, and I just, you know, that autopilot, I know what to do and everything went blurry, but you know, it just happened and I killed it. Well, it's not necessarily a good thing, because you need to be thinking through about what you're doing. But you go into that autopilot or buck fever, whatever, and you're used to shooting an animal, and your brain will remember and know what to do in that time of heart pumping action. Anyhow, let's first start with talk about these targets. This one happens to be a Glendel. There's a lot of different brands that make them, but I like them because they will show you somewhat of a representation of heart, lungs, liver, and then, you know, where other stuff is not. So they're not always like super accurate, but at least it gives you a good idea. So we'll start with talking about just like a totally broadside shot on an animal. So heart is actually a lot bigger than this, and it's gonna be lower than this. So your heart is like right down in here. If I was gonna center punch that heart on a deer, that would be the center of the heart on a deer. If you're totally broadside, if you're ground level. I agree with the lungs, but the lungs go back further. Like, people don't realize when you see the rib cage on a deer, like, you could hit it back here and you just went through the double lungs on the back. Then you have a thin sliver of liver, just like it's shown here, and that is right behind the lung. So, you know, you're hitting, you know, you hit like right back in here, you probably put a hole right through that liver. Then everything back here, of course, is a gut shot. Then obviously back here is ham. There's one thing I want to do. I want to get some spray paint and spray paint a shoulder on this deer, because right up top, like right in here, is the front shoulder, and that's really, you just need to keep in mind not to hit that front shoulder and you're golden. So you can hit anywhere in here. But anyway, yes, on a broadside deer, to me, you come up, follow that front leg up, and you're just wanting to shoot, like, maybe a lot of guys will center the body, that's fine, but I like to aim low. So like, follow the front leg up. I tell my kids, you'll hear my kids talk about the back of the front leg. Follow the back of the front leg up and just right up into the body, real low. The reason being that we shoot low is because at least 50% of the time when you shoot a deer, it's gonna duck. Like, and what it does is it hears your bow go off, so it braces for impact. And I'm gonna throw some videos up on here and I'll show you. Even with a crossbow, my daughter shot at a doe last year with a crossbow, and it ducked her arrow. That deer ducked, it had to duck every bit of 12 inches, and we'll play the video right now. Look how quickly this deer ducked the bolt. 30 yards, it's amazing. This really shows when a deer is acting spooky like that. You're probably better off either not to shoot or aim extremely low. She heard the sound of that crossbow and she dropped. So as you can see, she shoots, it hears the crossbow, and this is at about 35 yards with the crossbow, and this doe completely ducks that arrow. And I believe, we'll have to look at the video, I believe my daughter was aiming right in here, or maybe even low, and it still ducked the arrow. So just in general, aim low. So you get the broadside shot, which is ideal. and then you've got a quartering away shot. So this view right here is a quartering away animal. In other words, it's broadside and it starts walking away from you. In this case, you know, like I said before, the normal shot broadside would be right here. Well, you can't aim there on quartering away. Imagine if you aim right there from this angle. That's where it's going in, right? Now let's bring the camera up here and look. Where's that going to go through? Look at it from above. Oops. That's gonna go through. Get it from this way. You just went right through here. And that's gonna come out like right here. So if you're lucky from this shot, you'll get the heart. Maybe you'll get an artery in the neck, but more than likely you're gonna miss. It's gonna go behind that front shoulder. It's gonna go behind that front shoulder, and it's gonna go up into like the neck area. And the way you'll kill that deer is if you hit the arteries in the neck. You missed all the vitals.
A better shot would have actually been way back here and gone up in her like that, but hey man, it did the trick. I broke her bone. When your son shoots a deer, this is just as exciting for me. My heart got pounding, man, it was great. Normally, that would have been a great shot. Maybe actually we would have aimed a little bit further back. The thing was, this deer was quartering away so hard that that arrow actually went up and probably got her jugular and things like that. The better shot, and I talking about this to Hunter, he's videoing right now so we can learn about how to become even better hunters, is that deer was quartering away so hard he should have hit her back here in the very back of the ribs. Then that arrow would have gone up inside her. To be honest, he got lucky with this shot because this probably went up and hit inside the jugular and stuff.
Where you need to aim from that angle is think of it from the top, like where's that arrow going to come out? I want it to come out right behind that front shoulder. So believe it or not, you need to aim way back there. And see, it doesn't even look right from this angle, right? If I was shooting that deer, that would be a pretty daggone perfect shot from here. Okay, now let's go look at it from the top angle and see what that's gonna go through. So, pull it out. There's where I said, right? So look, just imagine that just went through the center of the cavity on that deer, and you might get lucky and it might come and it might punch out, right here, and it won't hit that shoulder, so that way you have an exit hole. Again, look at that angle. I think most guys from this angle would still try to hit like right here, right? And I've done it, and I'm guilty of it. It's more of an angle, it's like this. I've hit right there, and I've hit one lung, and I've never found the deer, or it was an extremely long blood trail, barely found the deer. So that's the lesson. Quartering away, think about where the arrow's gonna come out. And actually, I'll show you guys, I'll put a video on here. Last year, again, one of my daughters shot a deer, quartering away hard, and it hit the deer. I told her to put it in the belly, and she hit right here. It was a perfect shot, and it got double lung. This right here is gonna go in, it's gonna catch the back of this lung, and it's gonna catch the middle or front of this lung, and you get a double lung shot.
Hit that shoulder. Hurry up. Hurry up before it runs away.
I see the arrow. Can I go get the arrow?
No, not yet, not yet. Stay down, stay
That's awesome.
So that's where you went in, and then it came out on the front shoulder.
This angle with the bow, forget about it. Don't take that shot. One, it's extremely hard. Two, you're gonna have to go up through like you're going up through all that meat and hams. If you do happen to get it up through there, it's pushing all those guts and intestines up. It's just gonna be a big mess. Very, very low percentage chance shot. The next shot that I always see hunters on TV and everywhere else taking is this quartering towards shot. And this is where we got to talk about that front shoulder. Like I said, and I didn't draw on here with paint. I wish I would have done that before the video, but the front shoulder is right here, right? So with a bow, if you come in here, yeah, there's guys with setups now, you know, 600 plus grain arrows, and they shoot single bevel broadheads. A real heavy setup, confident with their setup. You know, they're confident they're gonna blow through the shoulder. 95% of all hunters out there these days are shooting a 350 or 400 grain lightweight arrow. Most of them, a lot of people are shooting like expandable broadheads with like the mechanical ones, like a Rage. I will guarantee you 9 out of 10 times that you are not getting through that front shoulder. Not gonna happen. And this is from experience. I have shot a lot of deer, even from broadside, and hit them in the shoulder with a light setup or with a Rage broadhead or whatever, and it will not go through that front shoulder. You wound the animal, you end up tracking it for a day or two, ruin your bedding area. Big mistake. What they do is they try to slip it in right behind the front shoulder. So they're slipping it in here. So they're gonna get this one lung on this side, then they're gonna put it through the liver and the guts coming out, even into this back hind quarter. This other lung on this other side is not gonna get touched. So one lung shot, one lung deer can survive. It's as simple as that. With an archery equipment, I'm just saying, don't take these shots. Don't take the quartering towards shots. We're gonna make another video later where we talk about when you do make a shot, maybe a bad shot, or when you hit it in different organs, like the heart, lungs, liver, guts, ham, neck. What can you expect tracking that deer? What can you expect on blood? How do you kind of be a detective and figure out what you did hit, even, you know, without having footage of it? Most people aren't videoing, so we'll have a video coming up soon of that. But for now, we're gonna get in this tree stand and shoot from elevation, and that's where you're gonna see from elevation. You know, I talked about aiming low because that deer drops. From elevation, you're gonna see us hitting higher. And that's just because of the angle. And the steeper you get, imagine you're still trying to hit both lungs. So if that deer's right under you, that's also a pretty poor shot to take, because it's very hard to take out both lungs. So even if it's broadside, I'm not saying I won't try to take it, but you only have about an inch or two up and down where you can hit, because if you hit too high, you're gonna hit the spine. If you hit too low, like if you hit here, you may get the heart, but it's gonna come out like down here, and you're never hitting that other lung. So to hit a double lung from up in a tree, you know, you're probably looking at hitting it about, you know, about like that or something. And so we're gonna go ahead and shoot, and then you'll see us talking about whether we killed that deer or not. So as you guys can see from all these shots, we said when you were ground level, we'd be wanting to put him down here. And that accounts for a little bit of the drop and things like that. From a tree stand at the angle, you see he's aiming a little bit higher. So if the deer doesn't move at all, he's still gonna hit it in the lungs. If it does drop from this angle, it's gonna hit more like up here, which isn't necessarily, it'd probably nick the top of this lung. But then at that angle, again, look at it like this. But they're gonna come out like down by the heart area down here. So his shot right there would have taken out the lung on this side, would have taken out the lower lung on this side, and probably the heart, and it would have came out down here, which is Smoke City. Getting a little dangerous in that front shoulder area. The shoulder bone and the leg bone kind of comes up like this, and then the shoulder kind of comes right here. So a lot of times from a tree stand, we'll say definitely follow the front leg up the back of it, and then I mean he right where he hits, perfect. So. There's that shoulder, boys. Boy, I hope that blew through. I'm gonna be a nervous freaking wreck.
Yeah, we got one a little far forward there. Pretty good shooting for no sights, man.